this is just something I wanted you to get your take on, because you write some great columns over at Business Insider. Everyone should check it out. You follow right-wing BS as well as anybody. This cancel culture stuff, they're hammering it. I think it's beginning to break through. But so much of their effectiveness, especially on Fox News, in terms of just repeating a talking point over and over again, it feels like it's been sapped of energy to some degree in the Biden era. Sam says this when he's on the show, there really was no response to the relief bill. There was no let's scare about the $1.9 trillion figure. I mean, they sort of performed it, but they knew even in their hearts that it wasn't effective. And so, like, the right-wing media machine is a bit broken by Biden. I think part of this is because Biden's a white man. And so, like, the Obama fear tactics aren't as Obama era fear tactics aren't as potent. But what's your take on that? Because to me, it just doesn't seem like their Dr. Seuss nonsense is breaking through in the way it had been, say, 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah, not only does it not seem to be as effective as they would like, but it also it's a head scratcher for me, because I don't think cancel culture in general is like some prevailing issue that we need to figure out like what's up with it. But I do think there's probably some minor aspects of it that are right, like the the idea that, you know, like we might have to figure out what it looks like for someone to apologize and then accept an apology from someone. But the way that Republicans and some like pundits are trying to convince us to that point is so embarrassing that I don't even consider the more legitimate aspects of the argument. If you look, for example, you'll have to remind me her name, the woman who stepped down from her Teen Vogue editor-in-chief role.
I don't remember her name myself.
Alexi McCammond.
Yes.
You know, they're
tell people the story, just because I don't know if we show. Yeah.
So she, when she was a teenager, did some pretty vulgar racist tweets against Asian Americans. And all these years later, she accepted a job at Teen Vogue as the editor-in-chief, and then the tweets resurfaced. She had already apologized for them, but you know, this is a very contentious moment for Asian Americans in this country, and so she stepped down, which seems all fine. Like, she made a mistake and she's trying to take accountability for it. And you know, people who are you know the types on Twitter who are talking about cancel culture and this is all terrible had some legitimate points about how we should allow someone to apologize and what kind of punishments they deserve in actuality. But when you wrap those legitimate arguments around Mr. Potato Head or like the Paw Patrol, like, it's really hard for someone who you might otherwise convince to give a single shit about your argument if you're talking about like these children's toys and Dr. Seuss, where like I think it was like one or two Dr. Seuss books that had racist text in them that they're taken off of online stores, not even like the classics. So yeah, my whole take on this whole thing is that these people might actually convince some people that their portions of their argument are legitimate if it weren't wrapped around in such stupidity.
Yeah, I mean, to me, they're not interested in having that nuanced Teen Vogue conversation, which that's the outlier. I mean, she'd already apologized for those tweets, to my understanding, and Teen Vogue still kind of made her resign, and she was a child. That's like when it goes, you know, I don't even know if I want to call it cancel culture, because you know, it's just the right wing, you know, First Amendment ridiculous trope bastardization of it all over again, but. Yes, in that isolated incident, I totally agree that it's way too far. But they're making it into the next cultural issue to hit at the hearts of conservative voters and motivate them to go out. And really what it's about for them is your white culture is disappearing. Things are changing around you. You're not the hegemonic force that you once were. And that's what they're talking about. under the guise of actually caring about more nuanced conversations like the Teen Vogue one that you just mentioned.
Exactly, and it's hard to say whether that this culture war that they're bringing about it will have any real effect on the country at large, but I do wonder how it is impacting their like viewership. Like, do Fox viewers care about Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss?
They're in trouble, allegedly. I mean, or at least they were after the election. So Trump viewers not happy with them for acknowledging reality.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see what happens, but it does seem like a very trivial thing that will hopefully go away soon.
Absolutely. Manny Fidel, columnist over at Business Insider. Where can people check out your work?
Yeah, so like you just said, I'm a columnist at Business Insider. If you go to my Twitter, which is just at Manny Fidel with no space, all my links are there in my bio. So yeah, thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.